I have too many board games. I'm ready and willing to admit that. I mean, anyone looking at the shelf just behind me could argue that I have too many board games, not including the Calyxes downstairs. I think there's 3. The shelf over to the side here with games that I need to cover, there's 2. A Calyx or 2 upstairs, and a back room filled with games that haven't even came out of the box. I'm looking at you, Simon, because you're ridiculous and you take up way too much shelf space. I have too many board games. But part of the board gaming hobby, part of the journey that I think all of us are on or have been on, especially with the hype-driven crowdfunding campaign, deluxify everything genre of gaming or era of gaming that we've been living in, which has given us some of the best games that have ever been made, period, and also given us some of the biggest disappointments, failures, and on the bridge of scams we've ever seen in our little nerdy hobby space. Part of that journey, part of that experience is wanting, is desiring, is playing, and then purchasing, is just getting more board games. Because every board game is a promise of a story, a game night, a group of friends getting together. It's a memory of when you did just that. Yeah, it was one time at a convention and we played till 6 a.m., I still have a copy of Twilight Imperium downstairs. I'm never gonna table it, but I am glad I have it because it reminds me of moments like that I don't want to fade. That one day, if I can, I would love to relive. This is my list of 10 board games I desperately, emphatically want. But right now, I just can't justify. Whether they're too complicated or too expensive, this list of board games are games that I know, and I know well. Games that I would add to my collection immediately. That if someone sent me an email, and they said, hey, by the way, I happen to have an extra copy of this, and I'm like super rich and moving out of California because, you know, the whole thing is falling apart at the moment. If someone sent me that message and they just needed to get rid of board games, they needed to get games out of their house quickly, I would be thrilled to add any of these to my collection. And yet, with all of that acknowledged, I've wanted some of these games for years, and with all of that acknowledged, I just can't justify getting them. Let's talk about it. Let's take a look. Heroes 3, the board game. Currently, I think you can late pledge on their 2nd or 3rd printing with extra expansions and extra content out there. This is a game that I have wanted so desperately. I held on to the prototype copy that I got. I didn't think I would like this game much. I was a little bit conflicted about it. It's based off a video game, and IP games are sometimes risky. It also has a very Mage Knight-esque aesthetic with these, grids that you're moving across, lots of complex rules, and a ton of content to dig your teeth into. But as we started playing this, as it started clicking, as we got through the barrier that is the rule system, I fell in love. This was not only fun, but there's a massive community out there that enjoys, plays, and is continuing to back and support this project. And I really, 1, don't want to be left behind, and 2, I want to explore beyond what this prototype let me explore. I also don't currently have $250 spare dollars plus whatever additional shipping will end up being to invest in the pledge that's out there on the market. One day I'll own all of this, and I'm acknowledging that it'll be hard to table. I'll have to dedicate some time, like binge watching a good movie or TV show, but I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be added to my collection, and I'm gonna spend time playing it. It won't be now, and it won't be today, and it probably won't be tomorrow. The second game is Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin, a game that I like so much that the original Tainted Grail was on my top 10 list about 3 or 4 years ago, and I still have some of the resin miniatures. Yeah, the sword's broken off because shipping does crazy things to people, but I still have some of the resin miniatures that I got from Awaken Realms when I did the original coverage, the original gameplay footage and preview content for this Kickstarter. It was a game found, I believe, at the time. And I also don't have $299 sitting to the side, which is what it would cost for me to currently get like an all-in pledge. And I have a pile of other campaign games that I really, if I was going to be a responsible board game owner, like a good pet owner, I should take those games out on a walk sometimes. I should play them a little bit. I should maybe let them live a good life on my table, getting experience before I add new things in front of me. However, the Tainted Grail world is one of the most captivating worlds I've seen. I loved the changes they made to Kings of Ruin, where you could actually explore into the mist, and I have never stopped thinking about the story, right? Drawn to it. I want to see more. I remember dipping my head into a pool and the world transforming into a historical version of whatever it was that existed before Ruin encapsulated the Tainted Grail universe. I want to go back there so badly. I was just telling one of my friends in my game group that I would trade him things in my collection. Like, you want some CMON titles? I'll get them out of my house. Give me your copy. Let's swap. Let's deal. But I don't have the money. I don't have the time. And I'm not a very responsible board game, campaign game owner because I got more than I can commit to. You really only should have one with a secondary one as you finish. Now, you might be asking, like, why don't I have copies of these games? After all, I did coverage of both of them. Well, usually, when you do preview coverage or prototype coverage of a board game, when you work closely with a publisher, you are able to get finished copies. You're able to get final copies of those games. With the one caveat that you do the thing that I'm very, very bad at doing. You follow up, you check in, and you get credit added to the pledge manager. I had a crazy year over the last year and a half. I got married, became Jewish, had a baby, got this studio set up. And so when I touched back in with the team over at Heroes 3, and I touched back in with my original contact over at Awaken Realms, their marketing team had changed since I last spoke with them, and the pledge managers had already closed. So sadly, I didn't get a copy in the mail, and I don't have a copy on the way, and I'm gonna have to pony up and, I don't know, sell some like white blood platelets or something to put some money to the side, and maybe that's a worthwhile way to earn a Tainted Grail game. My next one is Indonesia, the next game on my list of Splotter games I want to own and I will not play. Why won't I play that? Because I only play Splotter games with the right game group, with the exception of Bus, which is my #1 game of all time, but I have a deep desire to own all of the Splotter games at all times, period. For instance, I've got the lovely Great Zimbabwe here. Great Zimbabwe is not a game that I'm going to regularly get to the table. Why? Because it requires a pretty hefty teach, and you want an experienced game group to be able to make the most of it. It's a deeply, deeply strategic game, like most Splotter games are, with weird, twisted, unique mechanics that push the boundaries of what board gaming is, and I love that. I love that, I love that, I love that, I love that. And yet, I know that I don't get them played. I've got Roads and Boats up there. Could potentially be one of my favorite area control war-style games ever. Splotter wins. Splotter wins in every regard. But this game, Indonesia here, would cost $80. It is readily available, so I don't have to rush out and get it. And the game group that I was playing the Great Zimbabwe with and Indonesia with, they've had a chaotic life. I think we've had one member move far away, and that one member get hired by the all-play team. One member had a baby. It's been a lot for all of us. I'm not the member that had the baby. There's 2 babies in that original game group. Indonesia's just not hitting the table. So I want it. I will own it. It will be on my shelf. If you offered it to me, for $5 and a kiss on the cheek, I'd consider it. But I'm not getting it today, and I'm probably not getting it tomorrow, and I am upset about that. Beyond the Sun, a game that we've played, I want to say about a dozen times this last year. We've taught this to some of our close friends. Shira and I love this. This is another one that's probably in the top 20 contention. I don't know if it's in the top 10, but it's awesome. And we have copies available to play in my current game group. And you know, it'd be about 75 bucks plus whatever the expansion is, which you gotta get. So think like 120 plus shipping, which isn't bad. I think the only reason we haven't purchased this one yet is because when we want to play it, we have a friend that'll bring it over or let us lend it. And we don't feel a desperate need to have it, although this is the one that has the growing desire just itching away at my chest. Like if I had some like spare money from selling Amazon products, by the way, if you follow any of the links down below to my camera equipment or board game recommendations or any of the games that I can find on this list on Amazon, and you make a purchase, you'll support the channel as well. So click one of those Amazon links and help me get beyond the sun, because I'm pretty sure not only could I justify it, but Shira wants to own it. Period. She just does. She wants to study the cards. She hasn't won enough. She's competitive. That's my girl. Moving on to the next one. A game without apparently a title on the cover. This is 7th Citadel, coming from the creators of 7th Continent. And I want this game so much that I originally had backed an all-in pledge of 7th Continent. Got it in and then never got it to the table to justify what I had invested in it originally. I was really conflicted with 7th Continent and I struggled to experience it the way that I thought that it should be experienced. I needed someone with me, like my lovely wife, who's good at accounting, good at tracking all the stuff happening on the table, that enjoys the story, but storytelling isn't the heart and soul of gaming for her. It's the depth and the strategy and the progression. I still have the cards that I had to get, replacement cards that came when I purchased the small box version of 7th Continent to try to get that to the table instead. And the board had been damaged, I guess, in shipping or in printing, and some of the cards were stuck together. And so I didn't get that to the table, and I asked for replacement cards, and they sent me a little packet of replacement cards, and then because I'm bad at organizing, I'm bad at logistics, and I'm bad at doing things, even if I desperately want to, I never got these cards incorporated into that game, meaning that the small box version that I had flaws in it that kept me from playing it. The big box was too big to play, and I didn't have a partner to dive into it with, and I ended up selling the big box, and the small box is somewhere, still with the cards not being incorporated. I've got lots of things I'm working through, but one of the things I'm not working through is my desperate desire to play 7th Citadel. Why do I want to play it? Because the promise of the 7th Continent has always been something that's appealed to me. I love the new venture and the new world they presented with 7th Citadel, and I think Shira and I would really enjoy diving through that puzzly-like storytelling adventure game. However, I don't have $247, and I hear you. Yes, I could buy it for like $70 and just get the base box and not have the problem that I had originally when I went all in on the original. However, logic tells me that I might fall in love with it. What if I love it so much that I then need everything? I might as well just, I have to buy it all immediately or none of it ever. So I'm going to wait until I can justify purchasing all of it, or they come out with another, reprint or expansion or upgrade. And I just happen to have the extra cash from selling my hair to, wig making factories that'll allow me to actually purchase this. I don't know why the theme of this video is just going like I'm selling body parts in order to get some of these games, but I guess I could get them all if I put my kidney on the market. We'll see. Toenail clippings, anyone? That's disgusting. My brain went there before I said it. I thought it would be funny. I regretted it moments after it left my mouth. There's other jokes I could put there too. All right, Railways of the World. I think this game scammed me. Not this game, not even this publisher necessarily. I love Russian railroads. This is one of the games that's in my permanent collection, period. We love it. Railways of the World was an expanded game of that, I believe. Am I blanking on this? I might be blanking on this. I'm not. Am I? No. Yes, I am. Maybe I'm not. I might have the wrong photo here. Correct me if I'm due. Leave a comment down below. I went hunting for it and then couldn't find it. Is it Railways of the World that takes Russian railroads and a number of other railway-style Euro games and puts it into one big concoction of epic point-scoring bliss? If it is, that's the game that I'm hoping and trying to get, that I would love to get, that I think has scammed me or certainly did scam me in the past. This might not be it, though. I think this is actually wrong. Leave a comment letting me know which one is the right game. Here's what happened. They announced that collective version of Russian Railroads and the other expansions and all the other modules after I'd already purchased this beautiful, hard-to-get, rare copy of the game. And on top of that, or along with that, I placed a pre-order. I spent maybe $100, right? Like, I was like in. I followed a link, placed an order, was expecting it to show up, and it never has, and it never did. I don't know if I placed the order with the publisher and my address like changed in the midst of that. I don't know if the pandemic affected things. I don't know if I placed the order and it was a scam site, which I suppose is very possible because I think I followed a BGG or a Facebook link over to place that order. I'm just not sure. But all I know is that I have already purchased the Russian railroads upgrade and didn't get a copy of it. I can't believe, I think that's wrong. I'm so interested to see the comments. Oath, why would we want Oath? Oath is one of those games that we didn't like, right? We mailed on, we got rid of, we played multiple gameplays on the channel, and then we were like, it's not for us, we'll send it on its way. And then they came out with some cool expansions, and on top of that, Leader Games is always a game publisher that intrigues me, and Cole Worley is, while not necessarily always designing games that are right for me, he is one of the most compelling designers in the industry right now. And I got yelled at in the comments that we didn't play it correctly. You needed to do 4 players to really experience the journey of the game. And so that hasn't left my mind. I want to play 4 players. I want to give this another try. I want this in my collection. It's a game that fits my style of gaming. It's a game that's artful and aesthetic and tells a story and has that beautiful catchphrase that it remembers itself. I love this game. When I designed and created my own prototype of it from the print and play print and play content that was available during the original Kickstarter, and when it showed up, it just didn't hit. It didn't hit for me. It didn't hit for Jan or Shira at the time, and I still kind of want to solve that puzzle as to why it didn't fully click. Sidereal Confluence. I have hosted this game. I've had 9 people in my basement shouting at each other, trying to get as many resources as possible. We did a review of this game where I think 9 people came on camera one after another and all talked at the exact same time, letting you know their thoughts of Sidereal Confluence. I love this game. It is one of the most epic experiences I've ever had, and I have played it multiple times, both hosting and being hosted at conventions. I also don't need to own this. Oh, by the way, like the Railroad game's like $70, $80. I already spent $100 on it. The game before that, Oath, I'm looking at like 130 plus whatever else we're adding on. And then here, I could go get this for 70. That's not a bad deal. I would own this for 70, just like I own Twilight Imperium, because the promise of what it does. I just know I'm never hosting this. When I will add this to my collection will be at the moment when I have a group of people that are willing, excited, and available to play Sidereal Confluence. I will schedule that in my calendar, and then I will buy the game immediately. If you give me a call, whoever you're watching that has my number, hi Grandma, if you give me a call and say, Jesse, I'm showing up 26th of January, we're going to be at your house, I've got 4 other people, you bring 2 friends, we're going to bring beer, we're going to bring food, we're going to get a bottle of whiskey, you pick up Sidereal Confluence, we're going to play all evening, it's going to be amazing. I'd buy this without a second. I'd go across, I'd say, Shira, listen, I'm going to sell my spit, on OnlyFans, and I'm going to get a copy of Sidereal Confluence. It's the only option, because we've got a game night scheduled. That's when it'll be added to my collection. And finally, 2 campaign games. Again, I'm an irresponsible campaign game owner. I love them. I love storytelling. I came into this hobby through the RPG world. I want to adventure. And I don't have time, and I don't have players, and I almost never make it to the end, let alone the middle of a campaign. It took some dedication for Shira and I to finish our first ever game of Kingdom Death last year, and we got to see if we can do that again this year. Arydia, The Paths We Dare Tread was immersive. Open world exploration, was thematic in a board game, video game hybrid. It had these little tuck boxes that just drew our attention. It was one that Shira added to her list as a game that she wanted to play, which makes me more excited because I know I have a partner now to sit down with and play it. This is one we might even consider getting after we finish Jaws of the Lion, which is happening soon, I hope. We just moved it to the basement off our dining room table to make room for baby, and we're setting up and hopefully getting game nights restarted soon because we now have a 4-month-old, and he'll sleep like 5 to 7 hours throughout the night. So that's exciting. But this is $300 for all the stuff, and I don't got $300. I'm open to ideas. I mean, You know, we could do a live stream where I get kicked in the nuts or something like that. Like, we're open to any options that you all would like to consider, but Arydia, a name I can't say of a game I want to play, is on this list. And finally, Agamonia, looking at about $140 or so, with some people scalping it for ridiculous prices on BGG. I thought this game was beautiful. I thought it was thematic. I thought it was simple and accessible for a campaign game. Jaws of the Lion-esque when it comes to how hard it was for me to get it to the table. It's very, very approachable and very rewarding. I loved the artwork. I loved the colors. And it just has never left my mind. So, it's here. And one day I'll own it, and hopefully one day I'll play it, and one day I'll have a shelf of unloved campaign games and finished campaign games, and one will be 50 games deep, and the other will have like 7 on it, and a few of them will be like, played-ish. You know. We're halfway through, and we put a video cue card in there to let us know exactly how far we got, and one day we'll dive back into it. My most fun gaming experiences are these campaigns, just to be clear. I love them. They're just sometimes hard to table because you want someone who you know isn't going to go away, because part of the fun of experiencing them is telling the story in collaboration with another person. And life is busy, and people are complicated, and not everyone can sit down and play the same game 632 times. We'll get there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Let me know the game that you desperately want but just can't justify. And, yeah. Whatever the case, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing. Keep dreaming. Whether it's your career, your life, the goals you have, or the games you want, if you aim at them, like a fun game night with friends and family around you, or a 17-year-old son who's not able to beat you at Terraforming Mars yet because your skills have increased to such an epic proportion when playing against him from the age of 9 to 17. You know, you won't accomplish your dreams if you don't aim at them. So keep doing it. We'll see you next time. Bye.